Hi, my name is Zephyr Wildman. I'm going to offer you a practice tip for backbending in your cervical spine. Now, it's a tricky one because technically the cervical spine and the lumbar spine are the only parts of the spine that are designed to go into a backbend. However, due to what we do majority of the time in our culture by sitting in front of the computer, of watching TV, of looking down at our phone, we create a lot of dysfunction over time and actually a weakening of certain muscles that help maintain the strength and the alignment for the neck and health. So yoga can actually perpetuate this because of unconscious patterns of movement and a lack of sensitivity to the actual muscles in the neck to control the neck effectively and safely. So when I practice and I also teach, I try to really encourage people to less about dropping your head back, almost like decapitating your head, and more about extending the back bend through the cervical spine. And even just like, say for instance, we will come into this pose where your fingertips point forward, palms down. You draw your hands into the floor, a little bend to the elbow, and draw your hands away from each other so your upper arms draw towards each other, feeling the shoulder blades support the thoracic part of the spine back bending, the upper back. And so now as we breathe, we can start to extend that back bend through the throat. And notice as I lift my chin, I can distribute. If I just drop my head back, I collapse. There's no muscle integrity, and all I'm doing is actually exacerbating the weakness. So what I would suggest is lift your chin as if you're a yogic snob and gaze down your cheeks. Notice what happens if you look down your cheeks versus looking up. Look down, look up. Now, your eyes are connected to some muscles called the occipital ridge muscles. And they're these deep 6 occipital muscles in the top of the neck, the base of the skull. These help control where your eyes are looking. So when you look down, they release, creating almost like this cobra hoodie. When you look up, they contract to pull your head back. And a lot of the time we're chasing the back bend. So either in Ustrasana or this pose or any cobra or upward dog pose, people tend to look up in the direction they're going, creating more of this crunching and compression around the first and second cervical vertebra. So just in this pose, as you find yourself in a back bend, lift and lengthen your neck, lift the chin, gaze down your cheeks, and just look up and down, up and down. So as you look down, you can add, if you want to create more strength, to the anterior neck flexors to support the spine going deeper into the back bend, you slightly do an underbite. In this underbite, it connects to a muscle that helps stabilize C1 and C2 as you bring your head farther back into the back bend, looking down. And then slowly come up. I find the underbite tip really helpful in shoulder stand because the tendency is in shoulder stand, because all of our body weight is pressing, we have a tendency to flatten the cervical curve. So if you can, in shoulder stand, create a little cervical curve, look down your cheeks, ideally you're looking towards your toes in shoulder stand, slightly create an underbite, and notice how it helps distribute the back bend. The same thing, say for instance in Cobra, the tendency is to jut the chin forward and look up, whereas I would suggest as you engage the abdominals, engage the legs, as you draw your hands back, lifting the rib cage off the waist, coming through, as you look down your cheeks, stop, look down. Now look up, look down, look up, and look down. Notice if you do a little tiny underbite, you get a little bit more space. And then release. So try, when you're coming into, say for instance, Ustrasana, create the back bend. Instead of chin to throat, flattening the lumbar or the cervical curve, see if you can start to open the throat. Look down your cheeks, slight underbite as you come all the way versus decapitating your head and causing harm for the discs, especially if you're hypermobile. So try this little teaching tip of slowing down the back bend through the cervical, looking down like you're a yogic snob, engaging the anterior neck flexors, extending through the back bend, looking down, and then create a slight underbite. And notice how it creates more stability, this sense of integrity, and in that way in which you can actually explore more of what it feels like in that intimate relationship of creating that back bend as it distributes through the whole spine. I hope that has incited a little bit of curiosity to your practice. I hope to see you soon for another one.